Agents with just 47 days of training, sweeping through American cities, agents with barely over a month of training,
violently protesting, not protesting, but violently protesting undermines the morality that you say your cause is built upon. It's also dangerous. It's dangerous it's dangerous and it's stupid. It's 12-piece bucket of...
Welcome back, folks. Today I ran into a clip that honestly explains a lot about why politics in this country feels more like a stage show than serious leadership lately. We're about to watch Senator John Kennedy do what he does best, cut through the noise, while Adam Schiff delivers yet another dramatic monologue. By now, you know the routine. Schiff steps up, adopts that solemn tone, and launches into another story about how the Trump years supposedly turned America into some dark, broken place. Same talking points every time: ramp up the fear, bash ICE, and act like border enforcement is some kind of costume party. It's over the top, it's misleading, and it's exhausting. Then comes John Kennedy. And when the Louisiana senator takes the floor, the mood changes. He doesn't shout. He doesn't posture. He just drops plain, common-sense questions that completely expose how detached some of these DC insiders really are. It's that kind of obvious logic that makes you wonder how anyone could argue with it, and yet here we are. This exchange is something else. Schiff has no choice but to sit back and absorb it. So let's watch the clip, and after that, we'll walk through exactly why Kennedy's approach lands so hard, and why it resonates with so many Americans. Roll it.
On the street in America. 374 days ago, an American citizen did not need to worry about carrying a passport or worry that they would be pinned to the ground for being unable to prove that their hometown was in fact the only home they have ever known. Agents with just 47 days of training, sweeping through American cities, agents with barely over a month of training, just 47 days. And why 47? Because it's a nod to the vanity of the 47th president, rather than allocated to the need to be instructed on how to, say, use or avoid using deadly force. Agents with less training than a teenager getting their driver's license are now badgering, beating, and even killing Americans on our streets in the name of the president, while his chosen enforcers smugly walk through American cities, cosplaying their favorite uniforms from the 1930s and 1940s. I yield back.
I recognize the senator from Louisiana.
We all have to concede, we all should concede that the loss of life in Minneapolis was a tragedy, and I'm sorry it happened. Number two, this is the second thing that I know. You don't have to be Einstein's cousin. You don't have to be a senior at Caltech to know that illegal immigration is illegal. Duh. It's illegal. And those of us who believe that no one is above the law, we all say we believe that. I believe it. No one, those of us who say that no one is above the law have to concede that people in our country illegally are not above the law either. The law applies to them as well. Our immigration statutes are not second-tier laws. They matter just as much as the other statutes that have been passed by the elected members of Congress. And just like the other laws, the immigration laws have consequences and should have consequences if you violate them. Third and final point. You have the right to protest in America. Let me say that again. You have the right to protest in America. You do not have the right to protest violently. And in fact, violence, as you protest, undermines the morality of the thing that you're protesting over. Let me say that again. Violence, if you choose violence when you protest, that undermines the morality of the movement that you say your movement is based upon. You know who else understood that? Dr. King. King understood it. Gandhi understood it. Mandela understood it. Violently protesting, not protesting, but violently protesting undermines the morality that you say your cause is built upon. It's also dangerous. It's dangerous as it's dangerous and it's stupid. It's 12-piece bucket of stupid. Because when you protest violently, when you interfere with a cop or an ICE officer, it's not going to end well. It's not. Under the best of circumstances, these officers are trying to enforce federal law. And the people with respect to whom they're trying to enforce federal law are in most cases, I'm not going to say all cases, but in most cases are criminals. Not criminals because they're here illegally, though that too is a violation of our law, but criminals because they have violated other laws, in many cases felonies. And those ICE officials, those cops are scared. They're scared. They're dealing with someone who could be armed, someone who could be dangerous. So you've got a powder keg. And when protesters choose to protest violently and harass those ICE officials and blow whistles in their ears and block their way and spit in their faces and curse them and curse their children, they're giving off sparks in a powder keg. And it's not going to end well in many cases. I'm sorry we're at this point. But I believe that our future can be better than our present. And certainly.
Boom. That just happened. A full family-sized serving of nonsense, called out in real time. I swear, moments like this are why people cheer when John Kennedy opens his mouth. Let's be honest for a second. What we just watched was a clash between two completely different worlds. One guy actually lives in reality. The other seems permanently camped out in a cable news studio. Adam Schiff is up there rambling about costumes and 1930s imagery while border agents are dealing with chaos your side helped create. And you're worried about optics. Give me a break. Then Kennedy steps in and flips the whole discussion on its head. No theatrics. No buzzwords. Just a blunt reminder that somehow needs repeating in modern Washington: if you enter the country illegally, that's against the law. Period. The fact that this is treated like a radical idea tells you everything you need to know about how far some people have drifted, and that's the real issue. For Schiff and the activist wing of his party, laws are flexible until they are inconvenient. Kennedy wasn't having it. He made it clear that the rule of law isn't optional and it doesn't stop applying just because a cause is politically fashionable. The strongest moment, in my opinion, was when he went straight at the moral argument. You don't get to wrap yourself in the language of justice and peace while excusing mobs, intimidation, and harassment of law enforcement. He invoked leaders like King, Gandhi, and Mandela for a reason. Those movements were grounded in discipline and non-violence. Contrast that with activists screaming at ICE officers and targeting their families. That's not progress. That's reckless, and it's how things spiral out of control. And now, on top of all that, we're starting to hear serious questions about where government money has actually been going, USAID, NGOs, and political connections that deserve way more scrutiny than they've been getting. While Schiff lectures everyone else, there are growing concerns about taxpayer dollars being funneled through cozy networks instead of fixing real problems like border security. At the end of the day, Kennedy wasn't just venting. He was giving voice to regular people who are tired of being talked down to. The folks who work all week, pay their taxes, and watch Washington burn money while telling them everything is fine. Schiff had no comeback, just a front row seat to hearing what a lot of Americans already think. So what do you think? Was that bucket of stupid line an all-timer, or what? And do you think the pressure is finally starting to hit as more questions come out about these funding pipelines? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next showdown. Stay fired up, and I'll catch you in the next one.